Your bio mentions that you spent a decade pushing yourself to the limit in every which way and it wasn't working. So what then inspired you to turn to monks to talk about productivity?
Yeah, one of the things that we're going to find in our conversation is I'm naturally a bit long-winded. So I'm going to try
you're
to
on the
really
you're on the
compress
perfect
things down.
show. You're on the perfect show.
I'm going to really try and compress it down. The thing is, Okay. I had been really interested in productivity and had essentially been leaning into that as a model for reaching my own personal potential. Or it was more than that, because some of it's also tied up in probably certain fears and control and self-worth, all of these things, as it is for many people. I was really inspired at the time. I've always been really interested in psychology. I've been interested in philosophy, psychology for a long time. It's just like the bigger questions. That's just part of what interests me. And I came across the ideas of Martin Seligman, who's the head of the American Psychological Association for a while, and he has this thing called positive psychology. There's this model in that called PERMA that lays out what he calls like a scientific theory for or scientific model for happiness, human happiness and flourishing. And when I was encountering that, I thought to myself, oh, it's so interesting, because it seems like actually monks, like their whole system of life is ordered towards producing these things. So that was one thing. I also, it's one of those things where when you encounter people who seem to be living differently, or are flourishing on a certain level, maybe it's just like there's a certain joy in their eyes, or there's a certain way of being that they have, right? That's kind of more of an esoteric way to put it, but this like way of being, there's something that can strike you, especially if you're looking for pathways forward. And I just been around a few different monks that I was just really attracted to, and I saw, I don't know, I guess I was able to see how their way of life, I think, contributed to that. So yeah.
You said that you were around. I mean, very few people are around monks. How did you get around monks to begin with?
Well, I mean, it wasn't. I went on a few retreats. I mean, that was like the long and short of it. But yeah, I started going on some silent retreats. Probably, I don't know. I think I started first going maybe 10 years ago, 15 years. I actually don't know. I'm really bad with timelines, which is funny because a lot of this is about time. But just remembering dates. I still, to this day, if someone asks me when did I graduate high school, I don't know. I mean, my wife has to remind me my age. I'm just really bad at that stuff. I'm not even saying that it's a joke. Like, that's actually true.
I believe you. I have a lot of guys on the show that are a little bit like that.
So yeah. That's the thing. So, just silent retreats, going to some different monasteries, being around people, and then you also have people that you don't know directly, but you encounter through their works, right? Like people like Thomas Merton. Actually, when I was in college, I got introduced to a class on. It wasn't a class, but it was a group on Thomas Merton. That's how I first got introduced to Thomas Merton. If you're familiar, I imagine you are. So yeah, I'm just really. I think something piqued my interest, and I just saw a lot of things overlapping. Yeah.